Is in fact the time for a winter reset. Now, I have four main categories that I'm going to be focusing on for this. The first one is, of course, bookish. So, part of this is I want to go through the books that I have and take the ones off of my shelf that I'm no longer reading, either I DNF the book or the series, or I just don't want a physical copy. And I'm gonna collect them all and either sell or donate them just because I don't need them in my space, and also that way other people can enjoy the books because they potentially might love them. So that's the first part. And then the second part is actually restocking my TBR because I am currently filming a video called Hitting My 2025 reading goal, which will probably come out after this. But I am reading the last three books on my physical TBR in order to hit this goal, which means I no longer have any books left on my physical TBR. So we of course have to restock that. And recently there was a double stamps on Waterstones, which I did manage to use and order some books. And I ordered a few books elsewhere. I also used my Fable to just go through and see which series I want to complete over the next few months, and also any other books that I want to read over winter. These books might take me into spring as well, depending on how quickly I read them, because I never really know how much I'm going to get through. It can really depend on my mood with how much I read or not. So either way, we're going to be restocking my TBR for a new set of fresh books. Hopefully all of those books come in the next week or two, and then we can unbox them all together. So that's the first category. The second category is more about my physical appearance. I just want to feel fresh for winter. I need to get my nails done desperately because I essentially ruined my nails, and so they have been healing, and I think they're nearly there in terms of getting them done again. So I will be doing that, and also I want to get my hair cut and re-dyed because it's been a while since I did that. So those two things will probably be later on in November, maybe towards the end. Essentially all of these things that I want to do, I'll be doing them over 3 to 4 weekends. I'm not going to be able to do them all in one, so it will be over a few weeks that we get through this whole lot, and just so that we're ready and fresh for winter. The third category is actually my physical space. So I want to go through all of my drawers and my wardrobe and clear out, remove, chuck, donate any things that I no longer want or need, because I realize there's a lot of things that I have that I don't actually need, that other people could use, other people could wear and absolutely love. And it also means that I clear out space to buy new things that actually align with who I am now, because a lot of them are from years ago, some of them are from university, and I just don't wear those things anymore. So I do want to buy some new things that just align with who I am now and who I'm becoming. So that will be another category, and we may purchase a few items as well to go along with this. And then finally we have our fourth category, which is going to be our other hobbies. So this is going to be things like scrapbooking, book journaling, maybe some cozy gaming, all of these things that will essentially help me close off autumn and get ready for winter and just feel ready, excited and prepped for the new season. Good morning. Well, actually it's 1 p.m, so it's the afternoon now, and I have had a wonderful morning of just like a slow morning reset. I have actually been listening to the High School Musical soundtrack, which has been so much fun. I kept seeing High School Musical edits on TikTok, and they just put me in the mood to listen to the music. I do in fact want to rewatch all three of the movies at some point as well, but that is what I've been up to. And so now we actually have a few things that I want to do. I had an original plan for today, which was to first go through my shelves, get rid of the books that I don't want to keep and sell them. And then I also wanted to unbox all the books that I've got for my new physical TBR. However, one of the books was unavailable, so I ordered this from Waterstones, so I had to contact them. They said it was unavailable and sold out from where they usually buy it, so they had to do a new order from another location in order to get that book to me. So hopefully that will be here in the next couple of days, and then we can do a full restock of my physical TBR, which means the plan for today has changed a little bit. So I still want to do the whole thing of going through my bookshelves and getting ready to donate or sell the books that I no longer want, but I'm then going to do a couple of other hobbies. I have 3 kind of hobbies that I want to do throughout this video. The first one is book journaling. I essentially want to update my autumn spread, which I set up at the start of autumn. So I want to complete that, update it, And then I was thinking about setting one up for winter. However, I do have 3 books that I'm finishing to hit my 2025 reading goal, which is a separate video. So I think after I finish those, then I will set up a new spread for the rest of winter or maybe the new year. So instead, today I'm just going to finish my autumn spread. Then I have a pottery piece that I made at the end of September. I painted last month, and now I need to do the final glaze and then it's ready and I can put them on my bookshelf. So I do want to do that today, get that done and let it dry so I can place it and be done with that task, because it's not a task, I do want to do it, it's just taken a lot longer for me to do than I thought it would. Then the third hobby that I want to do is scrapbooking. I don't know if I'm going to do all 3 of these today, we'll see how much we get through. But in terms of scrapbooking, I just have a few pieces that I picked up over the past few weeks, months, and I want to update it with kind of like my autumn spread. I think I'm going to do like a full autumn spread. So I also want to print off some pictures. However, previously when I do scrapbooking, I print out the pictures and I cut out each individual one. And honestly, it takes forever. I don't always love how it turns out. So I'm going to try a different way of using the pictures in my scrapbook, which will hopefully be nicer and easier to do. So we will see if we manage to get to that today. But firstly, we're going to sort out all the books that I no longer want. Okay, actually, I've changed my mind. I do in fact want to do all 3 of those hobbies, and I will see if I get to the whole going through the books on my shelves today or not, because I'm just in the mood to do my hobbies first, and then we'll see what time it is by the time those are all done. This is the end result of my autumn spread. I really like how it turned out. I essentially updated my thoughts with what my original goals were for autumn. So the first goal was to read Babel by R.F. Kuang, which I did in fact read in, I think it was September. The second goal was to start a new fantasy series. I actually started 3 fantasy series. So I started Lightlark, An Ember in the Ashes, and Lady of Darkness. And then my third goal was to read Legends and Lattes, which I also read. And then I also added a few stickers, and I actually had this, which is a fake tattoo that I got from an event I went to. And whilst I didn't read any books that involved dragons during autumn, I just felt like it fit the vibe, so I did add this as well. I always love updating my book journal. It's just been something that's been really fun for me over the past couple of months. I did also glaze my pottery piece, so I'm just letting that dry now. And what I'm going to do next is update my scrapbook. I do have a few bits and pieces that I want to include in this. One of which is actually this that I coloured when I went to a colouring and cocktails event. So I want to include that. Then I also have some of the packaging for some of my used book tabs to use as well. Then I do want to print off a few pictures. So I'm going to sort that out and then I can actually update the scrapbook. So this is the final version of my autumn spread, and I really like how it turned out with the tissue paper in the background and this kind of burgundy, I think, color theme that is going on. I really like it. I also love the pictures, and I think it looks so much more cleaner with them not all cut out, and also including the text on the photos when I print them out. I just think it looks so much cleaner and crisper, so I really like the result of this, and I just think it's cute, so I'm happy with this. Now I do actually need to go through the books that I no longer want. I am going to be using World of Books for this. Now I have never sold any books from there, but I have bought a few like secondhand books and things, and they've been good for that, and they also have the option to sell your own books there, so that's what I'm going to be using. I've never done it before, so we'll see how it goes, and let's just get them all set up and ready. So I have in fact packed up all of the books that I no longer want. You might have seen that one of the books I packed away was actually Onyx Storm, which I know, crazy. The only reason I've done that is because Fourth Ring and Iron Flame, I have both of them as paperback, and I had Onyx Storm as a hardback, so I want to get rid of the hardback and purchase the paperback just so that they're all paperbacks. So that is why I've got rid of that book. But on World of Books, you can actually organize your books for collection, so I've got that organized for tomorrow, so that'll be great. I don't need to go to the post office or anything like that. Now, one of the big things that I wanted to do as part of this reset is actually clear through my room, all of my drawers, chuck things that I no longer want, use, or need, and just really give it a refresh, because I do this every 6 months, I would say, but I think the past few times I have done it kind of on the surface level, and I do tend to hoard things or think, oh no, I might use that in the next few months, and then not end up using it and it just causing clutter. So I just want to completely clear out my space and sort that out. So hopefully I can start it today, and I probably won't finish it today because it's a lot, but I will definitely at least start it. I do in fact have a 15 book haul for us to then be able to restock my TBR. So this was initially 15 books, then it dropped to 14, and now it's 15 again. First, we have 3 books that I picked up a couple of weeks ago at my local bookstore. I will run through them quickly, but if you want to know more about that, then check out my other video where I spoke about these more. So first we have Heavenly Bodies, which I am very late to. Then we have The Secret History, which is a dark academic book. I am fairly new to this genre, so I am slowly making my way through. And then the third book that I got at my local bookstore is Alchemy of Secrets, which is a new release by Stephanie Garber, who wrote the Caraval series and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Now, speaking of Caraval, I did really enjoy the first book. I initially gave it a 4-star, but then I kept thinking about it, so I bumped it up to a 4.5 star. And so as part of our physical TBR, we do have the rest of the series. The second book is Legendary and the third book is Finale. I think there is a novella in this series as well, but I'm not sure if I'm going to read it, but I will be reading these two. And then I have haven't bought them, but I do want to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which I believe is interconnected with Caraval. So I want to read all of those and finish off that series. But I will purchase the Once Upon a Time trilogy once I've got through a few of these current books that are now going to be on my physical TBR. Otherwise, they just won't fit. To be honest, I don't know if all of these are going to fit just yet, so we'll have to figure that out. Speaking of book series, I do also have books 2 and 3 in the Lady of Ashes series. I liked the first book, but I didn't love it, so I do want to continue the series, but I'm not going to binge it, so I'm just going to make my way through the series, hence why I've only got 2 of the books rather than all of them. Then I have Reckless. So I enjoyed Powerless. Powerful was okay, but after I finished this series, I didn't find myself constantly thinking about it, hence I kind of forgot. But I am going to read Reckless, and then I don't know if I'm going to continue the series after this. I've heard very mixed reviews about this book and also the rest of the series, so I'll see how this one goes and then decide. Then I have The Spell Shop, which is a cozy fantasy. I'm looking forward to reading this as like a palette cleanser, something just nice and easier to read and with low stakes. I do love a cozy fantasy. My 2 favorite cozy fantasies are Legends and Lattes, and also my very favorite is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. That is definitely my favorite cozy fantasy, so I'm looking forward to reading The Spell Shop as well as like a palette cleanser and just something enjoyable and usually light-hearted to read. Then we have 2 very chunky books. So we have Duskbound and The Ascended. So the first book in this series was Riftborn, and then Duskbound is directly after that. And then The Ascended, I think it's interconnected. So I don't think it directly follows Duskbound, but it is interconnected as the world or in the series in total. And I've heard so many good things, especially about The Ascended, so I'm looking forward to reading these. But as I mentioned, they are quite chunky, so I'm hoping to read them when I have like a good few days off of work and I can just binge it. So those are 14 of the books. Now, originally the 15th book was actually the second book in the An Ember in the Ashes series, but my An Ember in the Ashes has this cover, and the rest of the books in the series, the only ones that I could find had the other covers. They didn't have the ones that I wanted or that matched the first book. So I don't know where I got An Ember in the Ashes from. I need to figure out where I got that one from, and then I can order the rest of the series from the same place. Because all of the places that I've looked at for the next books in this series don't have the covers that match this first one. So that was going to be my 15th book, but it won't be, and I won't be completing that series until I find the books with the covers that I want. So then I thought, okay, I'll just have 14 books, but that just didn't sound right. If you're going to have 14, you need to have 15 because that's just what makes sense. So I went for a walk in London a few days ago and ended up in a bookstore as always, and I picked up Red Rising, which is in fact the first book of another series. However, I figured since I'm going to be catching up and completing a couple of series throughout this TBR, I can start a new one, and this is much shorter than the other books as well. So this is the 15th book. So those are all of the books for my restock. I did also this weekend and last weekend go through my cupboards, my drawers, my wardrobes, and completely cleared it out. I donated quite a lot of clothes and then also just cleared out a lot of the containers that I had for like old skincare products that I either no longer use or I ran out but I never chucked in the first place, which I don't know why. But yes, I just cleared everything out, which feels so good. So that is all done too. So I did get my hair and my nails done yesterday. So I got my hair re-dyed and cut. It's cut a little bit shorter than I usually go for, but I just think it needed a refresh. I am going to have to figure out how to style it, but that is a problem for another day. I do think I got through everything that I wanted to for this video. It was actually a really great way for me to just tick off all of the things that I usually put off and spread them out over a few weeks. So I really enjoyed doing this reset, and it set me up for a winter where I'm not rushing around and thinking that I haven't got things done that I would have wanted to. So I'm glad that I managed to get those done over the past couple of weeks and just spread it out in a way that was still enjoyable rather than trying to do everything in a couple of days. So I will probably do this again when I have another list like that occur that I want to get through. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.